So UFC 304, 303? I don't even know. That's how unrememberable that card was. I don't even know the name. Just took place, though. Just took place. And I want to talk about the last three fights. I think that's the only three fights people really cared about, and I don't say that often about a UFC pay-per-view. It's the only ones I cared about, really. The other ones went exactly how I predicted. Honestly, if you went back and looked at my predictions, I predicted every single fight on my channel correctly. Shout out to me, it was UFC 304. Talk about Paddy Pimblett versus King Green. Paddy looked like the Baddy. He lived up to the nickname. He looked so much fuller to me this time. Like, he looked 155. I don't think he looked 155 in the last fight to me. I don't think he ever really looked 145. He looked 155 to me today. I think that was the best Paddy Pimblett performance we've seen to date. Now it was against an older man in King Green. Will we see King Green ever win another fight in the octagon again? Will we ever see King Green fight again in the octagon? I don't know. But however, I am very excited for Paddy Pimblett's journey now throughout the rest of his UFC career. What a fight. I mean, he said he didn't blow up as big this time because he didn't go to America. Hey, man, maybe just stay away from America because you looked way better. You looked sharp. He looked determined. I think that's a main point away. He looked determined. Now, I didn't find out until after that the card was at 6 in the morning or 3 in the morning in UK time, which is like, what? And then Dana gets mad that people weren't fighting their best and the card was boring. He gave out 100K for nothing. Like, come on, man. I even asked, me and my friend were talking about this card, and I was like, wait, isn't it in London, or are they starting earlier? I assumed they were starting earlier. I was very shocked when they weren't. And I think they're never going to start earlier again in London. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I guess you want to keep the time as American until they buy the thing, but it's not up to me to make that decision, I guess. What's next for Paddy Pimblett? He called out Moicano. I think that's a great fight. I think that's a really good fight. Now, I don't think they want to give him Moicano. I think they want to give him another guy so he can win again. And I think they will give him another guy. Actually, let me look up rankings here. As for King Green, what's next for King Green? I don't know. I don't think it's anything great. And give him Tony Ferguson. I would love to see that fight. Him versus Tony Ferguson. I think he beats Tony Ferguson. I think that's a good fight. Where to go next with him? Rafael Dos Anjos makes sense. I think a Jalen Turner makes sense. Dan Hooker makes sense to me, too. I think Dan Hooker is fighting soon, though. But Dan Hooker makes sense to me, too. Fiziev can make sense. I guess I'm assuming we're not going to see him again at featherweight. Weight cut was probably way too hard for him. He looked way better weight-wise this time anyway. But any of those guys, Dos Anjos, Turner, Hooker. I think Hooker makes no sense to me. I think he could beat a Hooker up pretty well. King Green, give him Tony. I think that would just be a fan service. I don't know how much King Green's got left on his contract. I can't see him having much left in the tank. But I, as a person that said, bet Paddy Pimblett, the line's off, my line would be minus 145. Bet Paddy Pimblett, I was even shocked. He didn't even really throw a punch. He didn't even really need to. And I don't know. I'm so confused why people that don't know how to wrestle try to wrestle against a wrestler. And sometimes people that wrestle and they're versing a non-wrestler don't even wrestle at all. That always confused me as a wrestler myself. King Green paid the price. I mean, I don't know. The 40-some fights, he's never learned not to wrestle a wrestler before. I'm very curious to see where Paddy Pimblett goes from here. Excited. We'll definitely see him again, and I think we'll see him winning his next fight. Him versus Moicano. It's a close line. I think that's a close line. I think that it's a close fight. I'm Josh Wesley. More fights to come.